Good afternoon. I am G.R. Matthews, or Jeff Matthews. I've agreed to do a reading, or at least a talk, for Super X Fantasy Club for Phil, as he put the call out. If you don't know who I am, and it's quite possible that you don't, sometimes I'm not even that sure. I help to run the Fantasy Faction website, organise or try to organise the readings and the judging for the self-published fantasy blog run by Mark Lawrence. I've done that for 5 years. This is the 5th one we've done now. So I read a lot of self-published books. Also published some of my own books. Stone Road, Blue Mountain, Red Plains, in the Forbidden List series, which is set in Asia. Some Kung Fu and some magic. Enjoyed writing those, my first ones. I've written some Corin Hayes books, which are sci-fi books set underwater in the future where we've just had to retreat. I can't live on the surface anymore, and Corin's a kind of broken, sarcastic, snarky hero, if you like, whose only real skill is that he's stubborn and doesn't give up. There are 4 of those in those series at the moment. I might write a 5th one at some point. I've started it, but I released that bit as a short story, which is free. You can go and read that. And I've written a series of books, 3 at the moment, set in a land called the Six Kingdoms. One of which has been picked up by a publisher, thank you, and my agent just signed a contract for that. So 7 Deaths of an Empire will be out in 2021. You'll be able to find it in your bookstores, hopefully, and hopefully lots of you will buy it. I will make some money from that, I hope, and can write the rest. But it actually was the 3rd book that I wrote in that series. They're all firsts in different series. But I started that in 2017. The first book, called Swordmaster, ended up being called Rivers of Song and Shadow, which follows 3 points of view that alternate as they go through the book. And then I wrote A Good Day to Die, which is a first-person fantasy book about revenge. They're like kind of John Wick meets the Revenant, with a bit of Wolverine in it, I suppose, although he can get hurt and die, main character. That was a fun one to write. That's written as a 1 book. It needs some follow-ups to it. And then I wrote 7 Deaths of an Empire, which is basically, I sold it as a kind of Romanesque rise of Nero into power, versus the death of Alexander and the return of his body to the kingdom. So I kind of took those as a starting point and then began writing from there. And I have my fantastic journal, falling apart a little bit, which did begin in 2017, in September, and this has my notes from the beginning of Swordmaster, the idea there, all the way through, with some ideas and plot written out and sketched out for that, the 3-act structure for that book. I seem to turn more into a planner as I've gone on, and I'm a geography specialist as well, so I love a good map, get all the wind directions right, the climates right, biomes, zoom in on different countries to get the settings right, little bits of villages and towns and planning there, just so I know where things are happening for that one. And then really got writing Swordmaster, which I really enjoyed writing that one. I kind of set the scene for the rest of the world for me, even though it was set in a small corner of the world. But it wasn't really epic. It was contained within one town and one thing happening, which would open up into the other books, if I get around to writing them. Then A Good Day to Die came along. Again, had some ideas from act structures. Obviously, I'm an artiste of excellence, and there's the injuries to Rawlins there that he begins with in the book. But it is basically written, my notes here, journals, what's going to happen in the book, who's going to do what, little maps of people's home, a bit like D&D, I suppose, in some regards, but I play a fair amount as well, just to plan things out. Then I took a trip back to Corin Hayes as well, we're back in blue, and wrote that, in between writing the other ones. So I tend to write 2 books at a time, or at least have 2 on the go on a time. You can hear my family shouting downstairs there. And then I had the idea for Six Kingdoms, which started there. Got the characters sorted out, had an idea of armies and ranks that were going on, and then tried really to get the structure sorted out in my head the best that I could. And on this goes all the way through with more information about the 7 deaths, getting the ending sorted out, trying different things, trying different ideas. So kind of everything goes in here. This is not my first one by a long shot, but my 5th or 6th. But everything that I do, thinking, planning, trying to work out, having ideas in the middle of the night. Idea for the Silencing of the North is there. Was originally called Blood Freezes, but changed that name. So everything goes in my journal, which is that one there. From there, what I did with certainly the Rivers of Song and Shadow, or Swordmaster, was I plotted it out on reams and reams of A3 paper. So all the different kind of character bits, all the things that are happening. Each stage of the way, each chapter has a little bit in there. And that was really the first time I planned a book properly. I mean, I wrote the Forbidden List, or those 3, using a journal, just like the one that I've just shown you there. And an idea of what happened, the bits I wanted to happen in each place. And I did that just after I finished my OU degree in English Literature and Creative Writing, because I needed to learn how to write properly. And get some discipline in doing it. But that big there was one book, which is my first, I'd say, real attempt at planning anything, and doing planning properly. 7 deaths got a little smaller, but each character had an arc that needs to be filled out, and that's on a Google Doc somewhere, so that I can go and read that and do those. And I'm working on, at the moment, Silencing of the North plan, which is there. Each of the characters gets their own little arc again. They've got a beginning, a middle, and end. Sometimes the end is way before the end of the book. But that's kind of how I do it at the moment, which is new for me. All the Corin Hayes books are just written with a basic idea, a 2-page idea of what I want to write, and I sit down and I write it. But he's easy. He's just stubborn and sarcastic and snarky, and I can just have fun writing. That's what they were designed to be. They're just designed to be fun books to read. I'm not trying to say anything clever in them. Kind of going for almost like a Jack Reacher kind of episodic series of books, and you can read them individually, separately, on their own, or you can read them in chronological order if you want to. It doesn't really make much difference, but they're just written to be a bit of fun and escapism, and just because I enjoy writing them and I enjoy his character, and that's it. I do occasionally dip into file cards and I scribble down ideas of characters and locations, you know, what I want to happen, the army advances in that one there, for instance, which then go and sit in the back of my journals, and I just drag them out and use them if I need them. I've got some things that I have done. What else did I drag out for you? I dragged out actually my research books. I do some research for stories. Found these just excellent Oxford books, little short ones if you want 19th century Britain, or I go back to medieval Britain, or even, not that I've written the Vikings, I haven't, the Vikings and Roman Britain and Anglo-Saxons and the Celts here, and they are dense type, but they give you the history of each of those eras, people, and it's just a good point just to get some information from. Time Team, love Time Team, Tony Robinson, some great stuff in here, again, through different ages, pictures, ideas, we're back to Neolithic, through the Romans, up to the Georgian, but can get some great stories from there. And looking slightly tea-stained, Time Traveller's Guide to Medieval England by Ian Mortimer, with bits in there that I need to go back and refer to when I'm writing different sections, just to get a bit more sort of authentic, a little bit of a hook in the real world, if you like, so that the world's come to life. One of my favourite books, Prisoners of Geography by Tim Marshall. I am a geography teacher, so it should be one of my favourite ones. But in terms of just understanding the world, of getting an idea of how big countries work, how empires work, and also how scared they are, and how much fear there is for those, how the physical geography of the world has controlled their country and their psyche, and how it changes their culture. It's really interesting. I'd recommend that to anyone studying A-level geography, certainly a degree. It's a really excellent book, really enjoyed that. And then Space Mavericks, Michael Kring, thin book, geez, came out in the 80s, and I must have bought it then, and took it to my skiing trip to Switzerland with school. Read it again and again and again. I'm not going to suggest to you that this is the best written book in the world, but really enjoyable. I loved it. Eventually found out there was a second one, Children of the Night. I own that too. Supposed to be a third one in this series. Never got written. Ever got written. And I really want to know what happens. Absolutely love it. I read it once a year. It doesn't take very long. It's only 192 pages. But it's just a fun book. Just a fun read. And one of the books that got started me on fantasy. Master of the Five Magics. An instruction manual on every type of magic out there. With Aladar becoming, or trying to become, an archmage to defeat the evil that's coming. But Lyndon Hardy, really good. If I had it here, Misenchanted Sword, another fantastic series of, fantastic book that's in a series that I'd recommend to everyone to read. So that's really me. I will try and do a reading in a minute, I suppose. I'll have a go at reading something from one of the books, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, but have an absolutely great day.
Right, so I'll try and read from Silencing of the North, which is the follow-up to Seven Deaths of an Empire, which should be out in 2021 in all good bookshops, for your buying pleasure and hopefully reading pleasure as well. So this is the first chapter, the first thing I wrote in the kind of sequel to Seven Deaths of an Empire. It is a first draft as well, so a bit rough maybe. Doom came on booted feet under grey sky threatening rain. Splashing through mud, slipping and dodging tussocks of early summer grass, the messenger's progress was marked by a string of shouted curses. "Gowan!" the man shouted as he began to ascend the slope of sparse grass and exposed angular rock. "Gowan, you stubborn, pig-headed arsehole! Why couldn't you be in the comfort of your feast hall, instead of up here in the arse end of your lands?" "A farmer must look after his animals if he wants to eat in winter," Gowan called back, wresting the sheep out of the narrow crevice between two rocks, into which it happily ambled, but seemed unable or unwilling to back out of. "You're the fucking clan chief, Gowan. You've got others to look after your livestock. Get them out here to do the work, instead of warming their damp feet by your fire." The shouting man stopped for a moment to regain his breath. "Is that you, Stevard, under all that shit and muck?" Gowan asked, slapping the sheep and watching it wander off in search of more grass. "You know full well it's me," Stevard answered as he glanced up the slope. "I'm coming no further up just to turn round and go back down." Gowan looked to his flock, noting the total lack of care they gave toward him, each face focused only on the grass directly in front of it. He sighed. "I'll come down. More sense than those sheep, at least." "Why have you come, Stevard? And why not wait in the hall with the other layabouts? I'd been back soon enough. Tever would have given you meat and ale, plus Brodie would have relished the chance to cross blades. He needs to learn a few more tricks before he'll be close to beating me. I saw your wife, though how she puts up with you is something that still amazes the whole host of the gathered clans. It was she who told me you'd got up early and left her abed. Said you'd be up here with your flocks. I reckon you're a bit headsick. Told her so, Stevard said. What'd she say? She agreed with me. Gowan grunted. I love the land and the life. You like being alone, Stevard countered. If you're serious about becoming High King as you've been promised when the old man's gone, you'd better come down from the glens and your cattle. You'll have a different flock, and they'll be harder to master. No brighter, though, Gowan said. Maybe not, but they'll be carrying swords in your name or putting daggers in your back. Best you work out which you want. Maith and Oren both reckon they've got a good chance at the throne. Aye, Gowan agreed. I know. He's not getting any younger, Stevard said, as Gowan drew level. True enough, he acknowledged. And maybe you'll accord me some respect and use my title. And maybe your flock will learn to fly like the birds, Stevard laughed. But there was a hollow mockery to the sound which echoed along the steep-sided valley. Why have you come? Stevard asked, his peaceful mood falling away and cold reality taking hold of his mind. What does the High King want with me? The Empire army is coming, Gowan. They're near the edge of the forest, and will be in the lowlands within a few weeks. The tribes are fleeing the forest, and the highland villages and old brocks are fit to burst. War is coming, Gowan. Tavians call the council of the clans. Well, hopefully that wasn't too painful to listen to. I'll get back up some writing, I suppose, in a little while. I'll try and finish off, get this book, Silencing the North, done. I've got to get edits done on 7 Deaths of an Empire at some point when they come back from the editor. And that should be out November 2021. A long time away, I know. But if you want to read the rest of them, please do so. Go and find the rest of my books on Amazon. My website, www.grmatthews.com. You can join me on Twitter, where I tweet occasionally, or on Facebook, or the Fantasy Faction Facebook page as well. All good reads, all reviews, ratings, comments are really, really welcome. So while we're in quarantine and we're stuck here in actually my bedroom at the moment, where I tend to do most of my writing, I hope you all have a great day, a good time, and hopefully we'll be back to normal. It's my kind of normal, I suppose. Back to normal reasonably soon. Okay, thank you. Bye.